I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
It is Trudeau. Justin Trudeau has announced his resignation as the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada and as such, Prime Minister of Canada. He will not be going immediately, but he will be staying on until the Liberal Party can pick somebody else to run the party. However, he will not be Prime Minister at the next election or lead the Liberal Party into the next election. How did we get here? Where do we go from here? Let's talk about it today. It is hard to pin a moment when Trudeau's final plunge began, but the fact is, in the summer of 2023, with Canada's affordability and housing crises running rampant, and with the general discontent with things coming to a head, his polling numbers began to slump dramatically. It was a 10% polling gap, then a 15% polling gap, and he lost a by-election in Toronto-St. Paul's, a seat the party had held since 1988 to the Conservatives, then a 20% point drop. Then the Liberals lost another long-time Montreal riding to the Bloc. Then on December 16th, Freeland resigned as Deputy Prime Minister and as Finance Minister. And now we're looking at more of a 25% polling gap. That day, December 16th, is the day that I would say the plunge rapidly accelerated. This was after Freeland was basically told over Zoom that she was going to be removed as Finance Minister and replaced with Mark Carney, and she would be given some new basically made-up cabinet position regarding US-Canada relations. But before she quit, he wanted her to deliver a full economic statement, which was to reveal that our government was actually running a deficit of $61 billion, which is $21 billion more than anticipated in March, and $1 billion over the guardrail she had set in the April budget. She said no and quit on the day she was supposed to deliver that speech. Trudeau had weathered many storms under his leadership, but within the day, over 10 MPs had called for Trudeau to resign as Prime Minister publicly, and at an emergency caucus meeting, he told his MPs that he would reflect on his future as Prime Minister. Parliament rose for the winter break on the 17th, and over the break, even more MPs called for his resignation, with the number at the time of this video being closer to 30 MPs, many of whom are still wanting to seek re-election. The fact is, a Prime Minister cannot run his caucus effectively and run a campaign in which members of his team wanted a different leader. So while this announcement shouldn't be all that surprising, it still is very confusing in a lot of ways. First of all, Canada must have a supply bill voted on by March 31st, 2025. If this doesn't happen, our government isn't funded and we experience a government shutdown unless we are in an election campaign in which the government receives emergency funding. Justin Trudeau has prorogued Parliament, meaning that Parliament and parliamentary committees cannot meet until a new throne speech is given, and this is to buy the party time so there isn't a confidence vote while the party effectively doesn't have a leader. So under this timeline, the party must hold a leadership race within the time frame that Trudeau has given. This time will be complicated. Donald Trump is taking office in 2 weeks, and we need a plan in the face of Trump's tariffs against Canada. And if the NDP keeps their promise of voting down the government, we will likely have a May election. This means that we will not have a stable government until after a May election, which is, well, in the least partisan way possible. Not great. Will this change anything? In all honesty, I don't think this will impact the Liberal Party's polls much. The new Prime Minister could experience a honeymoon in the polls when they take office, but I don't know to what degree that actually changes anything when the election actually happens and the debates and campaigns happen. Some names we can anticipate to run: Freeland will likely run, and this might have been part of the reason she helped trigger this chaos. Mark Carney has also been making calls to caucus members. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, former Defense Minister Anita Anand, former BC Premier Christy Clark, and brand new Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc could all be running for leader. We don't know who will all run. We don't know the rules for the leadership race yet, but I can assure you of one thing. As with politics in general, expect the unexpected. But what do you think about today's announcement? Let me know in the comments, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as that helps me out a lot. But apart from that, have a good rest of your day and see you.